All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining. We have a couple other people who had mentioned they were going to come in, but we are going to record this and share this with some folks. But there's just a couple of quick fun things to share as we get into this. And Michael, I appreciate you calling in from the car. But I think, oh, and here we go. Ollie's coming in from far, far away. But we're going to get this kicked off. And hello, Mr. Khan.
Barely.
Um, are you in UK or are you still in Pakistan? You're back.
I'm
Okay.
back. Yep.
Okay, very cool. On Brain Health Day of all days. So good. Okay. We're here to talk about flourishing. We have, for everyone who's kind of gone through this, I don't think anybody here on this call has gone through some sprint learning that Gina and I have served up before. So we want to get into what that looks like. But before we do, let's kind of recap a couple of things that are coming out because of the Flourishing Boot Camp. So I always tell folks when I'm connecting with them for the first time or giving them a really quick high overview of what is AETHEON and what are all these things that we're serving up and delivering. I like to think of the boot camp as kind of the amuse bouche for the forthcoming academy. So, we served up boot camp just to kind of create this overview or a high level exploration of a deeper academy study. And as you all know, Dr. Matthew Lee has taken on the reins of leading the Flourishing Academy for us here at AETHEON, and we're really excited to have his perspective. Hi, Ramila, how are you? Nice to see you. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad you made it. Uh,
Yes.
Matt has a lot of different cool things that he wants to explore with everyone through the build out of the academy with Gina and her team. And unfortunately, he couldn't make this call, but we will get his brilliance shared with everyone as we move forward. But the boot camp has been super well received. I've had a number of Atheionites give me a call and get on my calendar to tell me about how much they have grown and learned and appreciated what they're taking away from the boot camp. So thank you all for your contributions in that. And I do want to be broad in the gratitude because everyone here, whether you're a participant and a peer or a cohort member going through the learning, or a thought leader delivering your wisdom and your insights, all of it contributes to elevating and supporting each of us. So I think, there as much as some of us may know or not know about flourishing, we benefit from the conversation with each other and the support from each other. And so that's what we're really most proud of at AETHEON and being able to serve up, because when individuals can grow, we all grow. So boot camp's been a big success. We've got 66 people going through the program right now. That's great. That does not count another good, I don't know, 20 or 30 folks who are going through it as the Gen Mar sample product, where people can go get a taste of what is boot camp and what does that look like. We have 2 formally completed boot camp graduates, people who actually have a badge in their inbox or soon to come. And so we want to make sure we acknowledge those. If you're out and about on the AETHEON campus, make sure you go say hi to Massimiliano and Tamara. Both of them have completed their boot camp, and they will be getting a badge. And so make sure you go give them a big shout out for doing that. Yes, indeed, Margot, that was very cool. I can't ignore the fact that there are about I think 5 people who are getting really super close. So it's very likely that they might need a little nudge or a shove to get going on that. But I think what the reason why I wanted to bring everybody here too is just there's been a lot of questions about what the heck is a capstone course and how do we end our boot camp experience. And so I want to have a conversation about what that looks like so we can create some comfort with folks so that they know what to expect on that. So before we get into what is a capstone and some of the other topics about sprints and things like that, are there any questions that you all have that you want to make sure you cover in this call? Is there anything that you want to pause and reflect on or share with others here? Again, we're recording and we'll make sure we get this pushed back out to our community. Anybody excited about their journey and what they're learning? Margot, you're nodding. You gotta jump in.
It's been great. I am working on my capstone project, and I want to say thank you to those of you that are on here that had content as part of the modules. And Jim and I actually met in 2020 virtually doing a Chief Happiness Officer certification. And so when I saw his name, that just brought me such joy, and to get to learn from him in a different capacity was also very, very exciting. But truly, the content has been incredible. Well-being, health and well-being is my background. So some of these areas, I am relatively familiar with, but diving deeper into them and continuing to be challenged with the way it's approached or thought about, I valued, and I do appreciate the capstone project. I have chosen, if I can share, Craftberg is the organization that I am putting together a plan as far as rebuilding trust, and also looking at safety and the greater sense of purpose for the leadership challenges and changes that are coming about within this pretend or real organization. I didn't validate if it's real or not. But yeah, so I feel I've got a decent dent of my report done, but I like to do work, come back, look at it again, make sure it's making sense, and it's also very applicable and aligning with the strategy of the organization and what the board has mandated. So I just want to say thank you for the time that has been devoted by all of you in terms of creating this content, but also the encouragement and the sense of community that I have felt since joining. And now I guess I can call myself an AETHEONite.
Absolutely. Yes, that's awesome. Thank you, Margot. That's lovely. That's very fun. Well, yeah, I'm pleased to hear that you're that far along in your capstone. It seems to have been quite daunting for some people, so I'm excited that you just took that on. That's great. Very cool. Elena, how are you doing on that? Are you nearing or are you still needing some time?
No, I'm just barely beginning.
Oh, great. That's
So,
very
yeah,
cool.
I thought I would, jump in both feet, and then other things kind of happen.
Life. Life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's perfect.
So I thought I would join the call today to see what I can learn.
Yeah, that's
Fantastic.
great. Well, Ali has all the answers, so that's
Great.
the big opportunity for you. You can feed from him. That's great. Very cool. Rodmila, how are you doing on it?
Great, thank you. Can you hear me? Is everything?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good. Well, good evening from The Hague. I had a very busy day. I'm a little bit tired. So I live in the Randstad area. Randstad is Rotterdam, Amsterdam, and The Hague, where I'm this evening. So, and I must apologize because I think I'm running a little bit low on my battery. So if I leave before the end, my apologies. And it may be all of a sudden I will be gone, but it's not because I've chosen to do so, but it's the battery. Yeah, so thank you very much for this evening, this opportunity, because as a matter of fact, I have parked the capstone because I wanted to be ready for the capstone, you know. So
Good.
yeah, I have very much enjoyed the way you have put the material together. I like that it's a combination of video presentations. You have a conversation with Michael Pearson. You have a video conversation with Matthew Lee. You then have a different format for Jim. What is his full name?
Jim, just call him Jim.
Jim. So Jim's format is a little bit different, and that's where I stopped. That's where I paused for a second because I wanted to find time for this.
Yeah, yeah.
But I really appreciate the format because it's a mix. It's engaging. It's beautiful. I like the format. You look so beautiful. It's just so engaging. It is, you know, I love the energy. And obviously the content. I'm a member of the Human Flourishing Network. It's been now, I think, 3 years.
Mhm.
And I'm a IMA fellow. IMA is International Humanistic Management Association. And we call it's a full, so we call it IMA. I'm a member of IMA. It's been now more than 3 years. But in the beginning, I was a very quiet member. I wasn't participating much. I was just listening. You know, is this a good place for me? But, you know, then I said, this is my tribe. And then I was very excited. Obviously, I really like what Matthew Lee is doing. And we meet on a regular basis every last Tuesday. So that content has been very interesting for me because I'm now moving back into education. And as a matter of fact, one of the reasons I went to a place called Haarlem, nearby Amsterdam, is to have a conversation with, it's a private school in the Netherlands. It's called Luzak College. And I was actually telling them about what we are doing.
Very cool. That's fun.
Yes.
That's great.
And yes, so it's exciting. I'm spreading the word here in Europe, in the Netherlands. And about my capstone, I think tomorrow, tonight, I'm catching a night train to go to Schiphol Airport, and I'm flying to Copenhagen because on Thursday we have a pre-conference, IMA group. And then the day after, the Academy of Management conference is starting. But I will be flying back to Amsterdam on Friday evening. So tonight at 4 o'clock, I will be at 5 o'clock in the morning at Schiphol. Yes.
Okay, well, you need to figure out where you can flourish in between all of that. And,
No, it's flourishing all the way.
that's great. That's great.
Thank you. It's really lovely to be here.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's very fun. Well, yeah, Jim, your content is, you know, it's in there. It's intense, you know. You say a lot, and it's important that we pause and take reflection on that. So I'm curious, as the thought leaders, Jen and Karen and Michael, Ali, Jim, how are you guys, how was it for you on the presentation side? Because you guys do this all day long in a gazillion different formats, and it must have been, you know, a little bit more of the same, or was it different? Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, so for me, it was super different because I am used to very much in person, one-on-one, or always seeing people experiences, and because that's really where I believe my work comes in. And so I would only trust someone like Marie, and now I know Gina, to take this work and put it in an online format. And so it's been a great experience. I mean, I'm just thrilled with what you're building here. And if I was ever going to test it, it would be in this kind of an environment. So I just want to thank the team here for giving me permission to play with it a little bit and see, you know, potentially how we can tee up awareness and information that can, lead to more human interaction and breaking through that awkwardness of connecting in person when we're on screens too much. So thank you.
Yeah, I do have to say that, as I know you and as I've heard you present, there have been so many moments when you're like talking about the digital barriers and how it prevents us from being human. And I think I've told you this before, but Jen, we're gonna figure out how we do this together. We're gonna figure out how we merge these two important things to make humanity better. So appreciate you being on the
I
ride.
believe that. I believe it totally.
Yeah, that's awesome. Karen, you were going to say something.
Well, I was just going to say Gina and her team made it so easy. They really did the heavy lifting. I feel like my contribution was like this compared to all of the work that they did. So I'm very grateful, and I'm really looking forward to, I haven't checked out all the other modules yet. So this is inspiring me to do so.
Good. Yeah, we need to get you certified, I want to see your
Yeah, I
capstone.
need as many more skills as I can get.
That's awesome. Jim and Ollie, how was it for you guys?
I'll jump in quickly. I thought it was great. I have been experimenting, very intentionally experimenting in the last couple of years of very different ways of presenting the content. So for example, this recent book, or that one I just did it this last year, I spoke it. And so usually I type and my typing is very dense. So this time I chose, well, I'll see what happens if I speak it. And then I had a European person who does books and says, well, let's just use your style. Well, what style do you want, Jim? I said, no, mine are black and white PowerPoints. And so I'm going to try something very different. So I thought the formatting, as Ramila was saying, was fantastic to see, how do people respond to that? Very different style, and something that's very easy to do on the phone or not. So I thought that was very interesting, how to bring that in, how to get down to some of the essence. And as we've implied, and some of you with the capstone project, because it's relatively straightforward to get doesn't mean this is easy, right? Flourishing and choosing to say yes to your bigger agreement every day is what the traditions have called for thousands of years, waking up, right? And nobody's ever said this was easy, but it's there and it's obvious if you can make it obvious. And so that's what I appreciate about this is how do you put it really up front, the essence of it, and then give people a chance to play with it. And the different formatting and the colors and the video and the different kinds of content. I thought that was very nicely done with relatively minimal effort on my part. So I'm very grateful. And I'm curious to see how people respond to it. So thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Really appreciate you. Ollie, how was it for you?
Well, thanks very much. Thanks for, and apologies for being late. I'm just a kind of a small company CEO. So when I was asked to do this, I had no clue how to convert, knowledge that I've gained into knowledge that can be passed on. And again, Gina, your team was just phenomenal. Jen in that team makes it so bite-sized and easy. And we know we've got the models, but how to explain models and make them so understandable that there's an art to doing that. That's not easy. And I picked up my confidence along the way enough that despite being in a war zone at the time, I had to do this real quick recording. So we got that done and the team did incredibly well. In making me look way better than I think I am, to be fair. But the really interesting thing is I've got the bug now, right? So I've now learned that there is something really valuable in what we're doing as a group. And when I'm meeting with people, what I'm finding is that they're for the first time starting to understand the tangibility and the value of what flourishing can mean in their lives, how they can engage it, and what that at a physical manifestation level means for them too. And so working with another group of people, they've actually come across this module as well, and they've asked me to look at building effectively what is a very, very high-end university-led program, which we're now looking at together with both Harvard and universities out in the Middle East. And they're great because they got lots of money, right? So somewhere along the way, as I keep on saying to people, flourishing really pays, right? So as I get there, I'll let you know.
Oh my God. That's awesome. That's awesome. Michael, I'm curious how it was for you, because I think you
No,
and I were
it was a great learning process for me, and I threw something I think at Gina and her team, and I was like, oh, okay, you have 7 days, and like, well, here's what I got, and somehow it fit together in the end, and it was very, very satisfying also to see, and yeah. And I want to be where Ali is at one point, where people come by and then throw money at me as a result.
Yeah, man.
I haven't had that experience yet, but I'm open to it, let's say.
That's amazing.
Duly noted.
Okay, well, we'll try and figure that out for you guys. That's awesome. Um, I'm curious, Margot, you've landed on a capstone project, and Gina has prepared two mock-ups, and it sounds like you were looking at one as a guide, but the other two that were completed by your peers and cohorts, we will actually get those posted as well, because I think you should see how people have taken this and, in real time, provided that. But curious if there's any questions on topics or approaches. And, I think kind of the world's your oyster. You don't have to, you can use the mock-ups as a guide, but, how do you want to manifest flourishing, and how do you want to take what you've learned and appreciated from those group different presentations? How would that show up for you? And Gina, I'm curious, you've been building the capstones for quite some time and looking at it. How would you think about sharing insights with this group?
So I'm happy to jump in, Margot, if you want me to go first on that, or if you want to speak first. Um, this has been such an interesting journey. I am so grateful to Dr. Matt Lee, to Jim, Karen, Jen, Ali, and Michael. I still think of you in the order of your modules. It's been such a joy learning from you and learning what flourishing really is. I've been in the learning and development space for many years, but flourishing is a much more recent area of focus for me. So I appreciate the generosity that you've brought in terms of sharing your content, sharing your expertise, sharing your perspectives to really help everyone in our community learn what flourishing is and what we can do personally to start to put that into practice. So I want to start by saying thank you to all of you. You've been incredibly generous and you've been amazing to work with. As we focused in on the Flourishing Boot Camp, it's been about how do you take all of the amazing concepts that all of you have and this expertise and boil it down into bite-sized pieces that everyone can engage in, and then making sure that we're meeting everybody where they are. So the capstone is about putting skills into action so that we can actually be able to reward and recognize the skills that each person builds, but also finding the way that it makes the most sense for them to apply them. So you'll notice that in this capstone series that you have the ability to complete a capstone as a professional in the flourishing space, to do it as a leader or to do it as an individual. And that was really important because our audience is so diverse, so broad, so many different backgrounds and experiences. So we wanted to make sure that the capstone wasn't just an academic exercise, that it made sense to be able to apply it in action in a way that mattered. So, Marga, you mentioned that you're doing the professional track where there's some case studies that you can choose from to be able to apply your skills. Some other folks have chosen to complete it as a leader, so to be able to say, how do I show up as a leader to create the conditions for flourishing for my team and my organization? And then we've had folks who are showing up as individuals saying, what can I do to enhance my flourishing? And how do I, help those who are immediately around me be able to flourish too? So those three very different tracks are creating very different examples of what flourishing in action looks like. So as we start to put together this library, as more and more people complete their capstone programs, you'll see examples of all of those professionals, leaders, and individuals. And I think that's really important because it means that you can flourish wherever you are and people can learn from you as you're putting flourishing into practice. So it's exciting seeing these things come to life as people are starting to actually complete their capstone programs, because I think we'll all learn more from each other as more and more of these projects come forward.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Gina. I think that's really good point. And welcome, Wayne. I'm not going to let you sneak in without saying hi to you. So glad you're here. That's great. We're just kind of going around talking about the capstones and topics and things that are of interest and the different approaches that you can take as you go through it. One thing I want to, if I admit I'm not to the capstone part of the project yet, but I've already got mine figured out. And I'm happy to share a little sneak peek on that. But a couple weeks ago, I had the privilege of having Gina and Mark, my two co-founders, come out here for a week in the Pacific Northwest as we literally locked ourselves in a room and would not let them leave until we got some stuff done. But on the last day that they were here, we all, the three of us as co-founders, signed a Flourishing Pledge. And the Flourishing Pledge was for ourselves to hold ourselves accountable personally to our own pursuit and recognition of flourishing, but to also hold each other and the business that we're building to a higher standard. And a Flourishing Pledge was the way we wanted to memorialize our commitment to the bigger, better place that we can build together. So I'm happy to share that with anybody here, but that would be my capstone is if I were to start a company, how would I want to put my first step forward in living my values, living our values, and drink your own Kool-Aid, like you can't, as I keep being told by my family members, like I need to focus on flourishing here and there. And so I think signing a pledge is a beautiful way of kind of locking that down. And it's certainly a touchstone for me as I have it right next to my desk and I look at it every day that all three signatures are on there and I get to see that. So kind of cool. It's kind of cool how it makes you rethink everything in your life. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be an evil capitalist, and you can actually live values that mean something for you personally and for the company you're building. Wayne, where are you in your journey with flourishing? I know you're getting close and you're probably getting ready to start thinking about a capstone. Am I correct?
Yes, that's actually why I joined, is I have absolutely no idea what to do for a capstone, and I was hoping to get some ideas. And yeah, sorry I am late. I had a conflict for the first half hour of this call, so.
Okay, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, so Gina just walked everybody through how you can look at it through the lens of a leader or an individual, and then also maybe as a practitioner or, someone that might have to um, be able to take it out to someone else and have them work through it. We are recording this call, and I'll make sure that we get the coverage out to you and the follow-up out to you and everyone else. But I'm curious, how do as you hear Jen and Karen and the team who contributed content, are there any topics or areas that you think would be interesting given where you see the heat, if you will, the most pressure, and as you're talking to companies and people in your world, where would you think a good topic area or focus could be for a capstone that might be of value? Anything?
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess maybe I can watch the recording and figure out what a like what the shape of a capstone is, because I'm still trying to sort of grok that. But I work in a world where it's a lot about, there's a lot of pressure to ship and a lot of pressure to ship software fast. I work in B2B SaaS software, pretty generic stuff. And so what I really want to do is with my team, get them to love what they're doing and enjoy what they're doing, and find the aspects of the grind that are sort of helping them flourish. Um, I tell my team that like I have three three promises or three things that I really want to do for them. One is to make sure they're as productive as possible because we're a for-profit company, and they need to be doing things that make the company happy and make the company money. But I also want to make sure that they are having the best time of their lives because they spend way too much time at work compared to other areas, and like they need to really, really flourish at work. And the third thing is set them up for that next stage of their career, no matter where it is. And which is also part of that flourishing. And so somewhere in that intersection is probably where I need to be with the capstone project. But then clicking that into like an actual detail is where it kind of falls apart for me.
Now, one thing, Wayne, that I'd want to highlight, it's so nice to meet you, is I think some folks assume that the capstone needs to be almost like an academic paper or a report or something like that. I think the important thing is that you tackle it in a way that's natural for you. So if you're thinking about what it means for your team and how you show up as a leader with them, the way that you could capture that within the capstone is super broad. It could be something where you're doing something that's almost like a personal journal entry, where you're talking about your focus on leadership and what you're doing and how you're moving the dial. It could be a video, it could be a podcast. It can really be whatever it is that you want it to be, as long as we're able to tell that you applied the skills and that there was an outcome from that. So I think that's the biggest demystifier I'd want to highlight here, is that this is not for us, this is for you. And so really capture it in a way that matters. So it could be something that you're preparing for your team as you're engaging them and going along the journey. Don't worry about it feeling academic. Don't worry about it being something that's kind of outside the flow of what you would do anyway. Just really capture what it is that you're doing and how you're making an impact with your team.
Yeah, I'm less intimidated by the format that the final thing takes. I'm pretty easy with lots of different things there, so I'm not too worried about that. But it's like, what is the content? Like, what is the thing that I want to go do? That's what is that's the open question. And so, and then following it longitudinally and sort of showing change and things like that. How do you measure it? Those are the things that I think are sort of interesting and cool, and it's trying to figure out what that could be. I mean, I will figure it out, I'm sure.
Wayne, just so good to meet you.
Yeah.
Wayne, how big is your team? I think you said just a handful of people.
It's 5 people, but they are, so it's a product management team. I don't know how much people in here know about SaaS software. So they are all force multipliers on teams of sort of 8 to 10 people, developers, designers, and things like that. And so they're going out there to try to drive their aspects of the product. So there is a sort of indirectly, there's a fairly broad swash here. But yeah, I've got 5 direct reports right now, and I'm really trying to sort of help them sort of grow, step up, but also ship things that are really, really valuable to our end users, our end customers.
Gotcha.
I shouldn't use the word user. I hate the word user. There's only 2 industries with users, drug dealers and software. And so I try not to use the word users.
I know the feeling. We've actually successfully avoided the word, only to find after 7 years of hard work, the lawyers have come back and said, you said go standard, and standard industry is user. So I've regressed, right back right at the beginning. Two, 3 things for your consideration. If you break down in the models that we've created, you've got a factor or a driver that could also be a barrier. at a certain threshold. So if the temperature is a good example, it is not in the right place for you, the very thing that will drive you to be in a good place becomes a barrier. And either you are there for flourishing or you are struggling with that particular aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And then across the broad group, you've got, if you look at the SHAPE website, you've got satisfaction, engagement, culture, physical work environment,
Mm-hmm.
your relationship with your manager, with you, and your co-workers as well. So all of these factors absolutely play a central role to your ability to flourish. A number of those are within your control domain. A number of those are up to your company to afford you the ability to do that. For example, if company policy is, we don't care, you're going to be here between these hours and these hours, that's a policy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could equally be, we want to recognize your hard work and we want to afford flexibility where it happens to be. And I'm working with a group of people, and here's a really interesting thing in Singapore. This is a magnate of 16, $17 billion industry. It's fascinating hanging out with billionaires. They're not normal people. And this chap said, he said, you know what flourishing really is? Freedom. To him, at his level, and to his CEOs of his group companies, he said the number one thing and the number two and the number three for me is freedom. So freedom for him is flourishing. But
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. That's meaningful for him. I don't know what he wants freedom from. I didn't ask him, but he wants freedom. So the point is that you've got this vast majority of different touch points, capabilities, conditions, behaviors. We stick with conditions and behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're able to identify those, then you can move on to, this is where I think we are with these. And it's like I say in my session, a lot of people get caught up. I've been a practitioner for accuracy and measurement for years. You know what I realized in my old age now? It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's okay. That's good enough. As long as you know that's the direction that I need to go and you're not going that way, you're kind of okay. So start with that and then write down the 10 things that you would like to have to make an impact on. How and what is your evidence to yourself that that's reached a good place?
Okay.
Stick with some basics, go for intermediate, go for some pretty difficult ones.
Okay.
So that's one way of doing it. And that's what we advise companies to do, is to break it down to its atomic level and then work at it at that level. Conquer one bit, move to the next one. And some things are going to need to be revisited. Others, you won't have to ever look back again.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, that's good advice.
And I would also say, building on, Ali, what you've said, you probably noticed as you went through the modules that every one of them is different. And that was really deliberate. There's no one way to flourish. And so each of the experts who are around the table right now, and Dr. Matt Lee, who wasn't able to join us today, you all bring different perspectives on how to flourish and how to think about flourishing and be able to really find what matters to you. And so I think, as you go through the whole, all of the modules, you'll get a number of different suggestions and hints and things that may resonate deeply with you. And everything will resonate at a different level. And so as you come away from it, take the pieces that were really of greatest impact to you, the things that you picked up from these amazing experts, and say, what do you want to be able to apply within your own team? What really makes an impact for you? And what do you want to carry forward? It doesn't have to be everything, because there's so many different angles that these great experts brought into the flourishing space. And there's got to be, something for everyone in what really you internalize and what you want to apply and to be able to see in action for yourself.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Of course.
Of course.
So I appreciate this aspect about the freedom, but actually I would like to, and this is why I'm here, because I want to rely on the science about human flourishing. So many people from Harvard have put in so many hours and effort and energy in order to come to some conclusions. And that's what I want, to see those results, rely on science. So obviously, my apologies, perhaps I'm going just to be off in a couple of seconds. But that's my point, that I'm here because I'm interested in science about human flourishing. And obviously, this is my choice. I'm led by sense of freedom. I'm free and here because I love science of human flourishing and appreciate the love and the energy and the enthusiasm that those people who have put in all the efforts and are continuing. I'm so looking forward to the second wave. And it's, in essence, it's care about humanity. It's love, it's care. So for me, that's fire. I love it. I'm so excited. Yeah. So thank you.
Well, I just want to maybe put an exclamation point on it. No one is asking you to forego the science of this. We worked hard to bring these folks together and curate their years of wisdom gathering and science building. What I think we acknowledged up front, though, is that this boot camp was kind of like a really broad smattering of all the different places you could go to study the science of flourishing. And so it is purposeful, and that if for you, if you want to keep going deep in the science, there's a lot of data that's coming in. The Global Flourishing Study just released its first year of a 5-year longitudinal study. We're just scratching the surface on those insights and what could that bring to us. And so that's something very exciting about the launch of the Academy that Matt Lee is going to be driving, is taking us deeper in these rabbit holes, if you will, of how to go deeper into different aspects of flourishing. But this particular capstone is an opportunity for you to demonstrate to everyone here and beyond that you gained skills in the study of this first pass of flourishing. And so that, we're measuring a pre and post learning that you went through. And that is ultimately what the certification is going to validate. So your capstone is going to be, how well did you understand the broad overview? What are the skills that you could demonstrate that you now have, and what you'll continue to refine? And so 100% science is driving this. We don't work on anything that doesn't have that peer review credibility behind it, for sure.
No, maybe I wasn't clear. What I mean by science is this data is collected from people from around the world.
Yeah.
And my interest is in people. So maybe I should say it isn't science, it's people that I'm interested in.
Yes.
And the science is collecting data from around the world. And that's where my interest is.
That's awesome.
Perhaps I wasn't clear. That's my
we're
point.
aligned. It's good.
Thank you.
Of course. So, in the remaining bit of time that we have, I want to make sure that this group, and again, we're recording and we'll share this with everyone, is a sprint is being scheduled for the month of September. And what that means is that for people who have gone through the full boot camp and received certification, they have that baseline of understanding of what it is that we're talking about. And so it is the entry of, it's the key to unlock the gate to start your sprint journey. So we will be launching 1, maybe 2 different cohort groups in the month of September to choose a challenge topic, to choose something that is really quite interesting to explore and related to flourishing, and together as a group go through a 6-week exploration of where you will go very, very deep. You'll come up with some information, you'll go back down deep again, and ultimately in the 6th week do what's called a report back session, where as a cohort, as a team, you will coalesce your thoughts around the challenge topic. You might actually create some artifacts. It could be tools, it could be a summary. It could be a PowerPoint, it could be a measure or whatever, but you'll report back to the audience at large, so that we can all learn what you went through. And so these, in the past, when Gina and I have led these for other groups and other topics, have been very, very fun and very, very exciting and hard. But ultimately, you come out of it with something that you can literally take back to your office and use right away with your team, or you can use it in your personal life and help whatever it is that you're pursuing. So I want to put a big rah-rah out there for sprints are coming. We're going to start promoting the date of that, but we want to post this in September so that we can get enough people to come through the boot camp with their capstones completed. But certification of boot camp in your hand is the entry fee for the sprint.
And building on what Marie was saying, sprints are an opportunity for you to move from learning on your own, essentially through the boot camp, into learning together across the community. So we've seen that there is a huge lift when you're able to learn with other people and be able to tackle challenges together and create solutions together. So it's a bit like a design thinking experience where it's a really active, dynamic, creative process to be able to go through and tackle this solution together. And you actually end up learning more deeply because, you've probably heard that if you can actually learn together and teach, then you actually understand it a lot better than if you're just taking it in yourself. So it really puts that learning into a much more active space. From an industry perspective, one little nugget that I love to talk about is that social learning is actually got a 75-to-1 return on investment over other types of distance learning that you might do on your own. So it's a huge way of creating a bigger impact with what you're learning. And it creates the ability for you to be able to generate something together. And as Marie said, you could take that back into your company, back into your community, be able to use it in a bunch of different ways. But it's actually the ability to create a broader, bigger, more impactful solution than you might be able to create all on your own. So it's a fun experience, and it's also one that has impact built into it. So more to come, but it's something that we've seen people get really jazzed about and create some amazing outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah, Karen.
Do you have examples of the challenge topics?
Yeah, I was just going to suggest, so one of the things that we've found is that when the graduated cohort comes together, they want to contribute to the challenge topic. So if we were to put out a list of topics, then people would be like, I don't really see anything that's interesting. That's not important to me. I don't want to do it. So we want to reserve that opportunity for graduates to contribute to the challenge topic. So as you're coming through that, be thinking about what is it that you want to go dig deeper on. The other element of surprise here is that I do want Dr. Lee to participate in curating ideas from each of our thought leaders, because each of you are experiencing things out in the world that you're promoting flourishing. You know where the heat is, you know where the frustrations are, you know where people are really stumbling. And so you can help Matt bring ideas and suggestions to the graduating group that would then ultimately want to choose a topic. But, I could see a wide variety. I mean, each of you represented a different slice of study, and I could see like ultimately 5 different topics being spun up because each of you, want to figure this out. Like, Ollie, how do we get more people using data to drive decision making? And how could we use the study of flourishing to actually put science and metrics on humanity? That could be huge. Jen, I'm thinking about all the work you do with getting people to like open up and be understanding and work through the awkward zone. How would an awkward zone exercise maybe manifest itself? So again, I think each of you guys have like some perspective that could Matt could kind of coalesce and help serve up to the group.
No, absolutely. I'm all in for that. I mean, we have, a whole leadership series training that we can go deeper in and offer up resources and things for. So it'd be great.
Exactly. Yeah,
Fantastic.
exactly. Yeah, I remember one sprint we had it was it was interesting because we ended up having 4 different cohorts created. Each cohort had a different view of how work got done in the office, and they came in with their myopic view. We had one topic, but each of the 4 groups ended up approaching that topic with these different lenses. And the output of it was so fascinating because it's the same topic, and each group had such a unique DNA applied to it that the artifacts that were created were so rich. It was almost in itself a whole compendium of really cool stuff. So this is the best part. This is really fun. This is kind of like getting through boot camp, getting through your certification. That's table stakes for the fun that's yet to come.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it is very fun. Yeah. And then you layer on all the geographies people represent and all the perspectives they have, and all of a sudden it's just like it's like fireworks. Yeah. Am I selling it?
Absolutely. Because as a matter of fact, it is the topic of my research, because my interest is in the cultural aspects within the world of foreign missions, the governments, and the cities hosting them.
Yeah.
So I'm in 100%. Yes, very, very much looking forward to it. Yes.
Yeah. One thing we haven't figured out how to do yet, which I want to at some point, maybe if we get some of these billionaires that Ollie hangs out with to help us, but we might have like a road trip. Like, let's go take our cohort meeting on the road and go around the world together. So
Come to The Hague. Yes.
let's go to The Hague. Let's do it.
Yeah, 2027 will be a good year in Belgrade. There will be expo with more than 100 governments coming, and the world of scientists and practitioners and people like you are.
Hey, let's
And
do it.
2027 is also a good year in The Hague because it's the year of a philosopher called Spinoza,
Ah,
who
okay.
had a huge influence on Albert Einstein.
Okay, there you go. Well, all right.
So you're invited.
Let's mark today's date as we heard it here first. We're doing a road trip. So that's very cool. Any questions about sprints or anything before we wrap up? Is it clear as
just
mud?
want to share that there were nuggets from each of the modules that have stuck with me, and I really do appreciate that. And if I may, Jim, one that you said about happiness is tied to the alignment of our everyday experiences and what we care about, and that resonated so deeply with me. And a few of you know that I recently voluntarily left my organization because I was not getting the level of fulfillment and purpose that I desired. So when I heard that, it was just like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
This hits it right on the head as to what I was not experiencing, and I was not close to flourishing at the level that I would like to achieve. So, and with the awkward zone for being presented in that way, Jen, I was just, it was really enlightening. And when Dr. Dole, you talked about if we're not connecting, we will not flourish. I mean, I think this information is so, so important, but again, it's very digestible. So I just genuinely thank you for the time that's been devoted to creating this content, and for others that I'm getting to meet that are passionate about this in one way or another. Just thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, Margot. That was
Margot. We appreciate that.
Yeah. So, as you're going through boot camp, as you're thinking about capstones, as you're dreaming of what the sprint could be, this group of people are here to help you. So they're all on the campus site. They're all accessible. I know for a fact they're checking their emails, and they're getting in there every day to just see who's talking to them. So I would love for you guys to feel comfortable in reaching out, and, whether it be through campus or directly, just, connect with these folks. They're here for all of us. And yeah, and that goes for me and Gina too. So if you ever want to get on our calendars, we're happy to do that. And this is, this is a give to grow community for a reason. I always say that my pursuit of flourishing is a very selfish one, that if I am flourishing, I can have an impact on those around me, and that helps me to flourish. So it's this Mobius of support that we all create for each other. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you to everyone for carving out this little moment in time. And let's go make it a flourishing week ahead.